Buck, and this is my friend Amy, and we're here to put the fun back into dysfunctional. Um, I have many mental issues that I have been struggling with all my life, and Amy has MS, so hers are more physical, but there's emotional parts that are attached to that, and today we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to ask Amy the question we ask now at the beginning of our podcast is, what is the most dysfunctional thing that happened to you this week?
Um, my favorite breakfast place that I took you to the first time we met
Yeah.
is closing, and
Oh,
I'm so sad. And they just can't afford it anymore, they said. And I'm sure it's about all of the, just the cost of food and the uncertainty about what's going to happen. And I'm sure that they have a big space over there where they're at, and I'm sure that costs a fortune too. So they had to close, and I'm so sad. So we went there on Sunday for brunch just to have one last time, and it was packed because everybody's going there now that they're closing. So, and I really wanted to get out and go get some baked goods because it's a bakery too before they close. But they're closing on the 14th, and if it snows, I'm not going to be able to get out of the house, and that's my very sad dysfunctional thing. The
yeah.
fact that I need my baked goods is a problem too.
Yeah, it's supposed to snow here a
Yeah,
lot, almost two
yeah,
feet. So, but I can't really complain because it's really the first time
yeah.
this year, this winter, that it's done that. And hopefully winter will be over very soon. It doesn't snow like it used to snow here.
No,
Um,
here either.
it's climate change.
Yep.
Um, Most dysfunctional thing for me,
Yeah.
this week would be having to go to a dentist and having a root canal.
Ooh, that's no
Yeah,
fun.
I know, and not really understanding what a root canal was until they did it, and it was the taste in my mouth and the pain and the uh, I don't know
Nothing's good about that.
I don't know how dentists do it, but I kind of was studying the dentist that I have, so that kind of made it better from an acting point of view. Studying this nice older woman who was like, "Oh, that's not right. Okay, well, we go back." I mean, it doesn't inspire confidence, but as long as you can find something to zero in on and know that it's going to be over pretty soon, and it's
Yes.
of all the dental problems, which I do have a lot, um, because of the anxiety of really grinding my teeth down, my front top teeth. This is the biggest thing, and it will be again next Tuesday. They will do more, but then the rest of it is pretty much just caps and stuff,
Good,
which
good.
I'm looking forward to because I can't really. I mean, I can audition, and you can see my long mustache, but it's really a lot of it is to hide the teeth. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of thing. So today, I thought that we would talk about um, what it's like for you to get MS and to live with it daily and how it progressed. Um, there's a lot of people that have these diseases that come later on in life.
Yep.
Um, no, I mean, not like cancer, but this is like a thing that's going to be with you. It's not
The
going to
chronic
kill
illness.
you, but it's going to be with you the
Right.
rest
It's
of your life. And why
chronic.
do you get it? I mean, the two that I can think of is MS, which you have, and like schizophrenia. So you can be totally fine mentally and physically, and then all of a sudden this thing comes later in life, and it's genetic, I guess. Is it?
They don't know what the hell it is, but they think there's a genetic component, but it's not like it's not 100%. That's not the only thing that's not what happens to cause it all the time. So they don't really know. I mean, that's the thing about a lot of these
Schizophrenia,
people. They
there is.
don't know. They have
Schizophrenia.
ideas, but they don't know. Same with
Okay.
schizophrenia. Yeah.
Same with schizophrenia.
Mhm.
But if one person has it, has
Yeah.
anybody in your family ever had MS that you know of?
Yeah, my dad's cousin had it, but there's different types of MS, and one of them is benign, which is it's not really because you still have it, but it's sort of like it. You have a few exacerbations, and then it just kind of goes underground. And for some people, it never ever returns. For my cousin, and she's my dad's double cousin, so his mom married her mom's brothers married sisters. Like my grandma's married two brothers.
Right.
My grandma and my aunt married my grandpa and my uncle. So double cousins, which means they're pretty much first cousins,
Right.
just with different parents. But so she had it, and then she developed some symptoms later on in her life that were probably part of that, like difficulty walking and things like that. So, but she's my dad's age, and my dad's dead, so she's like 87 or 88 now. So she might have problems walking anyhow, but they
Right.
think it's partially that, and a lot of neuropathy, which is numbness and things like that. So, but nobody else that I know of, and they just don't know if it's genetic or not. And they think there's a piece of it is, but they don't know. So, I mean, there's a hypothesis that's related to the chickenpox virus,
Uh,
that like part of a herpes virus can activate it. So, and when I know when I was really little, there was just like like a couple of weeks where I was limping, and I remember that was they were scared about what was going on, and it turned out to be some kind of bone infection or something that was cleared up with aspirin, but
oh,
they're not sure. If I mean that could have been a precursor. They don't know. They
oh,
do not know. So
wow. So let's go back to when so you had just had your first, your
yeah,
child,
my son. I
and
just had my
what prompted you to
son.
go see a doctor?
I got double vision. I was having double vision, and that was really weird. And well, I think it started with I was dizzy all the time. And please don't make a dizzy blonde joke,
Mhm.
because I had plenty of those. But I was dizzy all the time, and then I had double vision, and then I had, oh, you know what? It started with dizzy all the time and hearing loss in my right ear in this ear, because right is wrong. So that's my right ear. And and so I went deaf in my right ear, and I was just thinking I had like an infection or something. I know what I did that was the worst mistake was I went to a conference with my friend, and we went and sat in some they had saunas, and so I
Okay.
went and sat in the sauna thinking it was going to clear up this ear infection, and instead what it did was make all the symptoms worse. So because I remember we got out of the sauna, and then we went, like, tried to get right into the pool, and it was so painful to get into that water. And like lots of times when you've heated yourself up and you jump in the water, it feels really good, and it just was painful. And I was going, that is so weird. So, but what I did was when I heated myself up, that's how they used to diagnose MS before they had
Oh,
the other tools. They would heat you up, and if the symptoms got worse, they thought it was MS, because what happens is you get scarring around your myelin, and the myelin is the fatty sheath around your neurons. So the scarring uh, keeps the electrical impulses from going through your neurons. So, and you know how, like, when in the summer, how you feel like, I just don't want to do anything, I'm just feeling really sluggish.
right.
That's what happens to everybody in the summer, because your myelin does not transmit the electrical impulses as well in the heat as it does when it's when you're not hot, when you're not heated up. So my so then you take scarring around your myelin, and then the impulses are even worse. So when you heat yourself up, then you're just making you make yourself more sluggish and all those kind of things. So it makes the symptoms worse when you heat yourself up. So I I basically made myself worse. So then when I was deaf and I was dizzy, and then that's when I got the double vision, and I went, this is something bad. So I went to I think an otologist, or some. I don't think I went to a vision. I think I went to an otologist, and he sent me for the MRI, and then he called me and he referred me to a neurologist, because he said you have multiple lesions in your brain, which was really freaky. So I was like, what the hell? Who dies of brain lesions? What is that? And so then I went to the neurologist, and when my husband was with me, and So the neurologist said, basically, you have multiple sclerosis. And I knew nothing about it. I had no idea what it was. And I started crying. I said, how long do I have? I just had a kid. This is a nightmare. And he said, at first he started talking to my husband instead of me. And I went, no, no, I'm sitting right here. You talk to me. Like sobbing, you know. And so he was like, oh, okay. And then he said, no, you're not going to die of it. You know, you don't die of MS. He said, you might want to. And he said, worst case scenario is you're in a wheelchair by the time you're 40. And that's probably not what's going to happen, but that would be the worst case. But you're not going to die. And I was like, oh. And I was like 30. I was 32 or 33. I was 33 because I had my kid when I was 32. So I was 33. So I went, oh, well, okay. I guess I can figure this out, you know? And so, and so that's how it happened. So
everybody is different though. How
yes,
it
everybody's
how
different.
it goes into remission.
Yeah,
I just remember Janie Morris's mother got it.
yeah,
Was a tennis coach,
right.
you know, and you
Yeah,
probably the fittest mother of all the mothers
yeah,
of our class, our generation, right? And
right.
I mean, I took tennis lessons from her when
Yeah,
they had the outdoor free like YMCA. I don't know what it was,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
Something like that.
Lions Club tennis lessons, and I took with her and Janie, and like then I found out that she had it, and I was like, and somebody said, yeah, she's in a wheelchair, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
It's like the most fit person. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, because it has nothing
I
to
had
do
a
with
few
that.
problems on him, but like they were very fit, and
Yeah,
they all played tennis, and then so it doesn't discriminate. It could be
no,
anybody.
it has nothing to do with how fit you are, how thin you are, how fat you are. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about your, you know what it is an overactive immune system because it's not an immune system. Your white blood vessels become ultra sticky because that's how your blood vessels work. Your white blood cells are sticky, so they stick to like viruses and things like that and carry them out of your, and get rid of them. And so in MS, they get too sticky and they stick to the sides of the veins and break through. So they break through the blood-brain barrier. I mean, it's sort of the same way that you get drunk. Is like you drink and the alcohol breaks through your blood-brain barrier and gets into your brain and makes you gloopy. So in this case, your white blood cells break through and decide that your myelin is something to attack. So that's what's happening. So it's a overworking, or like a ultra efficient, too efficient immune system. And I never used to get sick. I would, like other people would get colds or whatever. I maybe would get something occasionally, but I just hardly ever got sick. So,
Yeah,
and somebody said, well, what happens if it breaks through your veins and goes into your pinky? I was like, well, then they just die off. They don't have anything to attack.
yeah.
You know, the myelin is something to attack. So that's how it works. So, but it doesn't discriminate, and it tends to be. I've heard that it tends to be more frequent in Caucasians, but I've known several African American people who've had it. Um, so that's not necessarily the
Right.
case either. You know.
But I mean, I just remember years ago, Canada had this breakthrough.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about it? I don't even remember what it was, but
Yeah.
these breakthroughs, and then they don't ever seem to come up with a cure for it. I mean, they know
Mm-mm.
what it is.
Right.
They're very
Well,
certain of what it is.
there's
So
treatments, but there's no cure.
where's the treatments? I mean,
Yeah. Well, the treatments are a lot of there's multiple things. When I first got diagnosed, the big three, there's the ABC drugs they call it. So it was Avonex, Betaseron, and Copaxone. And Avonex is a once a month injection, and what it does, and this was a good story too, because um, I was saying, I know what happens is it's sort of like it puts little raincoats on your white blood cells so that
mhm,
they don't stick, which leaves you open to infectious diseases. That's what we were talking about before too, like PML, which is the progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy I talked about. But so it leaves you, but it keeps your blood cells from breaking through the blood-brain barrier. That's what that one does. I'm not sure what what Copaxone and beta seron do, but beta seron was a every other day injection, which is okay because it's just a skin pop. Um,
okay.
The Avonex was a intramuscular. That was the one I was on at first. So you stick this needle about this long into your leg and rotate it, like we talked about,
Yeah.
and then that one's the one that makes your white blood cells stick or keeps your white blood cells from sticking. I think that one does that. But they're beta seron. Just I don't know. I don't know the process how that one works.
Okay.
But you know, then I was on something called Tysabri, which is another thing. And that's the one that keeps your blood cells from being sticky, is the Tysabri. The Avonex is more like beta seron. But anyway, when I explained that, I was telling that to my neurologist that was how I envisioned it. And he kind of laughed. And I said, what's funny? And he said, well, you're a nice suburban lady who, talks about raincoats. And he said, and the men that I know that explain it say that they puts a condom on their white blood cells. I was like, of course. So
Yeah.
anyway, but that was funny. But so there's that one. Now the Tysabri was a newer one that I went on for a while, and then I got this
Well,
shingle in my
how
eye.
did how did they work?
I don't. Well, the Tysabri is once a month. You go once a month for an infusion,
Okay.
and like I would go to the cancer center and sit and get an
Right.
infusion once a month, and that's the one that makes your white blood cells not sticky. But the other ones are like the Avonex was a once a week shot. Beta Seron was every other day shot, which is just a skin pop, just a little tiny needle. I think Copaxone is also a shot that's every other day. It's just a different delivery, just
Right.
does different things. So I don't really know. And then there's something called Orcavis that you get. It's just a twice a year infusion.
Oh,
But and it's the uh, it costs something like, I think it costs $60,000 per
shot.
visit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pay $60,000 for one infusion of that because
Is
they're
there
just incredibly expensive.
is
So,
there
and they're
insurance?
always coming up with new stuff. And now I'm on something called Tecfidera, which is a pill, every other day pill. So, and my neurologist did say something about wanting to get me off of that eventually too, but I don't know what would be the other thing. So he worries about. So you can have, most people have what I have, which is remitting relapsing, which means it comes and goes. There's primary progressive, which is when it's just like it's bad. It just you just have it. It just stays bad and it never gets better. There's the benign that we talked about, and then there's secondary progressive, which is when you have remitting relapsing, but then it just stays after, like it just starts to like become primary, like progressive all the time. And the last time I was at my neurologist, he was afraid I had that, but I just also come off of that bout of cellulitis in my leg, which is making
Right.
me slower than normal. So I don't think I don't think I've got that, but it's always a worry for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, after each different type of treatment, did you feel better? Like, what was the best one, or is
I,
it just your age? Like, you took
yeah.
this when you were this age, you took this when you were this age.
Yeah, no, I think it just kind of quit working. So, like, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to have the treatment and then it's not like oh boy, I feel great now. It's not that kind of med. It's just like it keeps you from getting from the problems. It keeps you from having exacerbations, which is when they get worse, and it keeps you from progressing as quickly.
Right.
Are the two things it does. So the Avonex, I was on that for just like a year or so, and it just wasn't keeping me from having exacerbations. So that's when I went on the Beta Seron, and that worked for a while, but it still wasn't great. So the best one was the Tysabri. When I was on the Tysabri, I think that one worked the best for me. Like
Okay.
I felt like I was more able to move around. I just felt better on that.
You were
But
more
then I
mobile.
got the shingles and I couldn't stay on it. So
Oh,
so the Tecfidera is okay. I don't think I'm progressing fast, and I don't have any new lesions when I go get an MRI, and I haven't
okay.
had any exacerbations, but I am just, it's just getting worse because it just gets worse. So it really doesn't have anything to do with age. It just has to do with whether it's keeping you from having problems or not,
Right.
you know?
Well, and the problem is if you can't really walk well,
Yeah,
then
it's hard
you're
to
not
know.
exercising. So part
Yeah,
of it is just the atrophy of your muscles.
it's true. It's true.
And also, if you're sitting down a lot, which you would
Hmm.
have to do, when you get up, your sense of balance, the equilibrium in your
Right.
ear is all messed up. So
Yeah.
you're more likely to fall, and your
Right.
flexibility is gone. And so it's just like a
Yeah.
1-2 punch kind of thing.
Well, my flexibility is good because I do yoga 4 days a week. I do yoga as much as I can, and I
Right.
should do it on my own too, but I'm just not that. I'm just lazy, so I don't. But I try to do that. I know I need to have. I wish I could do more aerobic kind of stuff because like it's better for your brain. You know
Right.
that you need that. But
Right.
I would like to be able to do more of that, and I do kind of try to work on stuff like that as much as I can. I do what I can around the house, and but about 6 o'clock I go. I just can't do anything else today, and I sit and I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
know, but you also get up very early too,
I do. I wake up super early. Yeah,
because it affects your sleep.
it does. It can affect your sleep, and it does. It's not as bad as it used to be, and I use THC. I admit I'm not a stoner. About 8 o'clock every night, I have a couple of edibles, so that I can sleep through the night. Because before that, legitimately, before I was able to get THC, I didn't sleep through the night for years, like a decade years, like
Right.
20 years. I wasn't sleeping through the night, and now I still don't sleep all the way through the night, but I sleep better than I did,
Right.
and so I THC is medicine. I swear to God. So
Right.
so I'm getting better sleep than I used to. And then except for when my cat wakes me up at 3 in the morning because he does that sometimes,
Yeah.
but oh well. Um, and I nap a lot during the day and not on purpose. Sometimes I'll just sit down to like watch something and or read something, and the next thing I know I'm asleep.
Right.
So, and fatigue is one of the major symptoms of fatigue of MS, and I'm on medication for that, but I still fall asleep pretty easily. So, I just don't
You're
stay
on
asleep.
you're on medication for fatigue. What
Yes.
is it, like
It's
an
called
iron?
Provigil. Only I'm on the generic of it. It's called Modafinil, and
Uh-huh.
so it's actually a med for narcolepsy. So I'm on
Oh,
a much smaller dose than I would be on if I was narcoleptic.
right.
I am on that, so I do take that one, and I can tell the difference when I don't have it. I get much more fatigued and actually a little bit depressed, and um,
Yeah.
so it's good to have that. That's a good med.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine the
Not cheap,
emotional
but it's good.
part
Huh?
too of
Yeah,
feeling kind of helpless. Like, why
yeah,
did this happen to me? And
right,
what am I supposed to do if there's no treatment? And if the actual
right,
treatments are so expensive? I mean,
yeah,
an emotional baggage I mean,
yeah,
you
yep.
watch your body not be able to function the way you want it to. You're not able to do the things you want
Right.
to.
Well, and I watch commercials that'll talk about like, oh, I'm going to do all this stuff when I'm retired, and I go, fuck you. you know? I mean, I don't begrudge anybody anything. It's not their fault that I can't walk. But it's just so frustrating at, things like I've never traveled really, not very much, and I go, I'm never going to be able to do those things. I never went to Disney World or Disneyland. I'm never going to be able to do that, or it wouldn't even be any fun.
Yeah.
So when I was at my job before I left that last job, um, I got laid off from that last job because it was community mental health and we lost funding and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So that was during the first big real estate crisis. We had some donors that like lost all their money, and so we lost all our money. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I got laid off. But before that, uh, I know we always go. We went on a retreat or some fun thing. Like once a year, we had some fun thing that we did together, as just as a something to do with community mental health because we don't have any money to do anything else. So and they wanted to go to Six Flags, and I was like, that is not going to be fun for me.
Right.
I can't do those rides. They make me a lot of those rides make me dizzy. And who's going to push me around in a wheelchair? You
Right.
know, I mean, and they were like, "Oh, we can do it, and then you can go to the front of the line." I go, "Well, I'm not sure that that's true anymore, that you could do that." But I said, the other part of that is like, so here's what happened. My sister, my sister was visiting once, and she was pushing me around in a wheelchair at this flea market, and then she saw something she wanted to look at. So instead of like going, here, do you want to look at this? She kind of pushed me to the side like I was an obstacle. So all of a sudden, I'm like going down this hill, and I'm like, Beth, what are you doing? Where are you going? And I was like, she's not even holding on to me, and I stopped myself, but it was like, I could just see that being like, they're pushing me and then they forget that I'm a person in this chair
Yeah.
and they just leave me sitting there and I'm sitting amongst these pigeons or something, like, hello,
Very whatever happened to Baby Jane.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly,
I can see
because when
that
you're,
too.
when you're on a cane, when you're using a cane, people think you're old, but they don't think you're, deaf or non-existent. But when you're in a wheelchair, you just become the chair. You're just an object. Like people ignore you, people don't talk to you. Being in a wheelchair would be awful, and
Mm.
I'll probably end up in one soon. But I just hate to think of that because you're a non-entity. People don't see you as a person when you're sitting in a wheelchair.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so that's the scary part. But
Well, I mean, right now you use walkers when you have,
yeah,
and you've actually designed your own walker, kind
well,
of.
yeah, kind of. Well, I have an up walker, which means that it's higher so that you don't have to like lean down, like, because that's a problem with the lower wire. You're supposed to stand upright and hold on to them, but nobody ever does. It's really easy to like just lean forward all the time. So the up walker keeps you from doing that. But I have my husband replace the seat with like a piece of a board so that I can put stuff on it, and it's not, doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not as tippy and it's not as unstable. So,
Yeah. And
but
you
I
can
can't
walk.
like fold it up. But I that's okay. It just lives at home anyway.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
other
And you
walkers that
can
live in the.
carry your iPad and your
Yeah,
all the stuff that you need.
my right now it's sitting here, and I would show it to you, but it's got my hot chocolate and my phone and a book. I'm just like, it's good transport chair for me.
Convertible bed.
Yeah, yeah. And I can
Just
sit
goes
on it if I
all.
need to too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's yeah. You need to be able to just turn around and be able to sit down too.
yeah.
So
Sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm having a thing just to interject. I'm having a thing with the medication that I'm on.
yeah.
It's helping, but it's giving me restless leg syndrome. I'm going
Oh,
to
it's horrible.
my regular doctor tomorrow.
Yeah,
Pretty liked. I really like her. She's really great. She's head
good.
of research here for HIV and liver. So she
Yeah,
actually has it throughout Canada. She's pretty cool. She's from Minnesota. I like that. She
that's
lets
cool.
me better.
So
Yeah.
she sounds like that. Yeah,
Especially when she dresses very après ski. There's no white coat for her.
that's great.
She'll
Good.
have these fuzzy boots with like the little ties, the pom pom ties.
Yeah,
She's great. Um, but I'm having restless leg syndrome, so I'm going to ask her
horrible.
if I need to switch medications or if she can give me a medication for that. But the other thing is, I'm becoming very sluggish.
Yeah,
Like I noticed myself walking today with groceries, coming back from the gym, and like I had to make myself go, come on, you can walk. What's the matter with you? Why are you? But then I catch myself being really slow and sluggish. And this is a thing that I've noticed in the last month that I just have to push through some things.
yeah,
I remember people talking about like how medication that they're taking for, psychotic episodes or whatever mental issue they have, that it makes them feel like they're going through water. And
yeah,
I just thought that's the mental thing, but it's not. It's physical. Like I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
trudging through water, trying to get.
Yep.
And I'm like, pick up the pace. What are you doing? Why are you walking all hunched over? Why are you? And it really is the medication because I I didn't experience that, and
No,
it's
no.
frightening. And it must have been frightening for you when you first started to not be able to do things.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And for you, it wasn't medication; it was just
Oh
your
no, it's the disease. Yeah, yeah.
body
You know,
giving up in places.
right. It was, yeah. It was, my first symptoms were all in my head, in my not in my head, but were like, my vision and my hearing and stuff like that. So I was kind of hoping it wouldn't kind of make it down to my legs, but
Yeah.
I also didn't want to have those symptoms. I haven't had, and when I told the neurologist I was having double vision, the worry was that that could be like a tumor. It could be a lot of different things.
Right.
But what it was for me was that my eye muscles weren't working to keep my eyes from drifting. So they just weren't like working together. So
Right.
that cleared up. I haven't had double vision for years and years, so that's a good thing. Yeah,
You'll see us again next week, hopefully. If I can survive the dentist and we can
you'll do
survive
fine.
the snowstorm that's coming. So we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah,
Thanks.
see you later. Bye, guys.